Hello and welcome here to KSB TV. Today with a really interesting topic, we will discuss Hex and Zen, maybe find out what are the differences, what are the similarities, and so on. And for that, we have KSB Line here. And first of all, I want to say hello, KSB Line. How's it going?
Hi, Alan. It's going very good. And hello to everybody out there. I hope the Hexicans are doing great as well, the Xenians as well. And as you already said, today we have a nice presentation prepared for you guys in order to look deeply into both cryptocurrency, into Hex and Xen, and look at the differences and the similarities. And yeah, spoiler up front, there are more similarities than you might know.
The only thing that is not similar at all is that Hex did 10,000x up and Zen did 10,000x down. And still we are talking about it because it is an interesting coin that has the same first principles as Hex, the same philosophy, and even the founders are in some way a little bit similar. But first of all, let's look in the chat. We have the people here accumulating. Thanks for being here, guys. Definitely leave a like and subscribe. And down in the video description there, you find all the information about Hex and also Zen. And I think with no further ado, let's bring up the presentation that we want to share with you guys today. Here you see it. We just worked on that recently, and I think by now we have enough knowledge about Hex and also about Zen to talk about the topic and really point out the similarities and maybe the differences. Here we have the phrase cryptocurrencies that counter the traditional financial system and offer new opportunities for investment and transactions. And today, Patrick, we can maybe also try to find out what is better for investment, what is better for transactions. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. So both here, Hex and Xen, are definitely cryptocurrencies that counter the traditional financial system. And now on the next slide, we will show you what key points we will talk about in this presentation. So we'll talk about the two founders. We will talk about the two token first principles, about their initial distribution, about how their supply is formed, like how to go, yeah, where the coins are coming from, then the tokenomics, the characteristics of everything, and then finally the bonuses and penalties, because in both systems, yeah, we have both, and last but not least, the ethos of both tokens.
And really important, I see the numbers in the chat are growing really, really good. Let me really quickly make a tweet, put that into the chat for you guys to also retweet, because this always helps to bring some more people into here, because we had so many debates about Hex and Zen, what is better, what are the differences, and there were speeches held about vampire attacks. I don't believe in such a kind of thing at all. So I want to finally make up with all this nonsense. We do not have to be maxis. We can share things about Hex and about Zen. And I'm putting it into the chat right now for you guys to click and then also share it with our fellow Hexicans here, so everybody can get informed what is Hex, what is Zen, what are differences, what are similarities. There are so many things that are like, that are a little bit different maybe, and it's, I think, a really interesting stream today. So this link
So
is in the chat.
You're not believing in vampires. So why did you eat that garlic soup right before the Jack Levin stream?
Just because I love garlic, man. That's all it is. Well,
Okay, that's all.
maybe I can talk about one of the pitfalls that I fell into, and I think this is what many Hexicans did as well. We love the best chart in crypto, which is the Hex chart, which is basically just going up and to the right, and then the Zen chart looks the opposite, and that's, I was scared by that, seriously, right? I was scared so much that I had to eat garlic and stuff like this. I did not understand the tokenomics, for example, the distribution, and so on, and all those things we want to go through with you guys. So please click the Twitter link, retweet, and also share this YouTube video here with your fellow Hexicans. I think the alpha that we are about to give should not be only for you, but also for all the other Hexicans. And I'm seeing already it is working. The numbers are increasing. And Hex Case B line, you already said the introduction here, founder, first principle, distribution, supply, tokenomics, bonus, and penalties, and ethos. All of these things will be discussed. So let's go on. So here we have...
First things first, the founder. I guess that's your topic. I don't know. You like to speak about both founders.
About both founders, and especially Richard Hart, the founder of HEX, which made 10,000x in price appreciation. And this is, I think, why we all love Richard Hart, because he really created a coin that was meant to pump 10,000x in 2.5 years. And now let me ask you, KSB Line, in what time frame did HEX do the 10,000x?
The time frame was early January 2020 till September 2021.
So you see here...
So like 1.5 years.
1.5 years, and this financial product made already a lot of Hexicans financially free. And I think this is exactly the reason why we love Richard Hart so much. Also because he bought and owns the world's largest diamond with 55.55 carat, homage to the Hexican community, because the longest stake that you can make in Hex is 5555 days. So thank you so much, Richard Hart. We love you for that. Also, obviously, because you own the quickest Ferrari and $10 million in watches. He also made it possible for the community to raise $27 million for charity, for longevity especially. And here is maybe something funny, but it is true. Richard Hart doesn't read messages. He will never reply to you first. So never think that Richard Hart texted you. It's probably a scammer. And then here on the other side, the Zen founder, Jack Levin, you want to take part?
Yes, of course. So on the other side, we have the founder of XEN. He also founded imagecheck.com and imagizer.com. He is like also a big brain genius. He was the 21st Googler and the first Google backend architect as well. Like now he founded XEN. He put XEN on already 10 different blockchains, and there are much more additional smart contracts and even a own blockchain, like we know from Richard Hart as well, in the making. He lives in Hawaii, and then also a little funny add-on, because he told us that in our stream that he likes sunscreen.
So this is some insider information, because he only told that to us in confident after the stream. He told us everything about his sunscreen that he is using. So you guys, you see two really charismatic founders. Richard Hart, the guy who really knows 100% how the crypto game is being played. And I think Jack learned a lot from him using the same tactics. You created Zen that is totally different than Hex, but also has a lot of similarities. And in all of those similarities, we want to look in for now. So let's continue with the next slide here. So
yes,
first,
so the next slide, the first principles. Go ahead, David.
Maybe it looks a little bit weird that we have presented the first principle in such a manner, because, you know, if everything is the same, why is really the idea of presenting it like this? It is just from us to make you understand Hex and Zen. They're really alike in those first principles when it comes to self-custody, security, no admin keys, inclusion, interoperability, privacy, and decentralization. But first, let's start with the self-custody KSB line. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to say for that is not your keys, not your coins. So with both tokens, with Xen and with Hex, you are taught that you need to keep your own funds to yourself, to hold it on your wallet or on your personal private key. How to do all that, how to get like your financial energy back to yourself, and not like share with a shared account towards your bank or your exchange or whatever. That's what the self-custody point is about. And the security point is that nobody can change those smart contracts. So they are built in a no admin key way. So nobody can change, for example, the total inflation of 3.69% per year in Hex, and nobody can change that. In the first 10 million mints, there is an early adapter amplifier, early adoption amplifier bonus. Sorry, and also all the other metrics is like how the smart contracts are working. They can not be changed, and they are kind of a safe in a safe. So when we talk about the Ethereum blockchain, it's already a pretty nice decentralized blockchain, and to be even more secure, smart contracts with no admin keys fulfill that, because if there would be an issue with the Ethereum chain itself, it would not affect Hex or XEN.
So the distribution system that we will talk about in a second as well does not touch the security layer of Ethereum. And if Ethereum does updates, then Hex and Zen, they do not have anything to do with that. And this is how it is representing a safe inside a safe. And then now let's talk about inclusion. You know, it's a word that maybe a lot of people do not understand what it is, because in the traditional world, you do not think about that at all. It is normal to be exclusive, right?
I need to interrupt you. I need to interrupt you right now. I got a comment here which I really, really like. Read that.
People who like both can be called Hexans. Yeah, that's true. That's a
That
really
would
good
be like
word.
that's like something what should be part of a tweet of yours or something like that. Huh?
Of,
Hexens. I like
of
that
me.
with the
You know how much heat you always get if you talk about Hex? If your name is Abel Hex and you talk about Zen, then the people go crazy. So Bluebum, I dare you. I dare you to make a tweet with Hexens. I really love the word. I think it's beautiful, and probably I will steal it in the future once the heat is maybe come down on Twitter. The people on Twitter are screaming so loud. Because look at this picture. It is all the same, really. Hex and Zen first principles, they do them both, and they're both inclusive, which means nobody in this world can stop you from minting and staking your Hex or Zen. It doesn't matter, because it is on the blockchain trustless. If you have Ethereum in the adoption amplifier, then you got your Hex. If you have Hex, now you can use Ethereum to stake it and stake it. And the same goes with Zen. If you have Ethereum and you want to participate on the blockchain, there's no government in the world. Maybe your wife can stop you, but not the government, to make the mint and the claim. And I think this is exactly what the inclusion is about here.
Yes. Next thing would be the interoperability. That what we can already see. So, for example, in Hex we have the T-share system, and on top of the T-share system, lots of developers already built like on top of that. So, for example, just to name two things or three things, we have Hedron, Icosa, and Communis on top of the T-share system already built, and that does not mean that we get copycats. We also have those. Don't go to copycats, and also be aware of copycats of Xen, for example. So stick to the original. But interoperability means that you can like build on top of those systems in a secure way.
And since both coins operate on the Ethereum network, I know Zen also uses some other blockchains, but let's stick on Ethereum here just to make the example for privacy. It is pseudo private, right? Because we do not know what name is attached to the address. We only can see that every single transaction is actually on the blockchain. It is really transparent, but like I said, it's pseudo privacy. So you do not know what people are doing the actions. It can also be bots or other entities we do not know, like routers, for example. So both of them
And then
coins are private.
Yeah, and then the last point, the decentralization. In that regards, decentralization from the technical perspective, from the technical standpoint, and that's also a given with Xen and with Hex, because nobody can change those smart contracts how they are, and everybody can participate in them. And technically speaking, they are like really decentralized.
And I see we have 25 people here watching the stream. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to drop all your questions into the chat after this presentation, then we will address them all. And if you're watching this video later on, put your question into the what is it called? Into the video as well, because then we will address it later on. So let's go on with the next slide. Here we have
So
now
now
the
we are talking about
distribution.
would you like to do hex and I do xen?
Yeah,
Or
let's do that. The distribution of hex, obviously, we have talked about that a lot in the past, and we decided to do that in two different ways, because we have the launch phase where everything started, where the initial coins were given out, and then we look at after the launch phase, how are the coins distributed after. So in the launch phase, what in hex, which was 1 year, and now please remind me of the days exactly. I always forget. How many days was the launch phase?
354 days.
354 days. All right, now it's burned into my head. In those 354 days, we had a hyperinflation phase in Hex, where on the first day, 1 billion coins were distributed to the pool. And then every day afterwards, a little bit more than 500 million coins were distributed. And in this, I'm already here talking about the second part, the adoption amplifier. In this first year, the coins were distributed through the adoption amplifier, where you could put in one Ethereum, and then you would be paid out hex, depending on how
Did he
much
freeze?
your... What?
Is that my end or is that his end?
I think it was yours, but so...
Oops, sorry.
Just
Sorry.
to
Sorry that I interrupted you.
continue with my point here. So in this first year, there was a pool that was hex given into it, and then you were able to participate with your Ethereum. And then depending on how much Ethereum you put into the pool on this day, then you would be given out the hex amount. And then also in this first year, Bitcoin people got hex for free with their Bitcoin. All they had to do is go to the smart contract, tell the smart contract, look, I have my Bitcoin here. And depending on how much Bitcoin they had, they were given hex for free, which was staked for 1 year. And already in this launch phase, the T-shares were working as well. Obviously, we all know that we are getting hex depending on how many T-shares we have staked and for how long we have staked them. So the T-shares are already in the launch phase, obviously, as well. And then on the last day of this launch phase, we had something called the big payday bonus. Depending on how many T-shares you held, you got a nice little bonus, which was at least 30%. If you staked out longer, even more. And all those hacks you can only enter once the stake is ending. So all of this was really just in the launch phase. The hyperinflation phase of hex ended in this 1 year, and now newly created hex is only given to the people that believe in the system the most, to the people that make stakes and got their T-shares. And depending on when they end their stakes, new hex is being created, the T-shares are burned, and hex is given out to the people. And now in Zen, it is pretty similar. So let's talk about that.
That was a really long explanation. I would just say, okay, distribution of hex through a few things within the first year, through Bitcoin free claims, through this adoption amplifier where a certain amount of hex was given out for 354 days. And then in the end of this term, the big payday, and everybody in the hex system who is actively creating a stake gets T-shares in return, and the future distribution, the new inflation is just given out to those T-share holders. And when it comes to Xen now, we have a launch phase of nearly 8 years, of about 3,000 days. So for 3,000 days, people can just go in their wallet and mint their Xen. When they do the mint, they get like an option as well. The option is how long you want to delay your claim. You can delay it for 1 day. You can delay it for more than 455 days as well. And through that, the Xen are giving out to the people. So you just need to go in your wallet and mint them. Every wallet can mint them. You can also use batch minting in order to claim for like 100 different wallets as well. And then the second thing, how Xen is distributed throughout the launch phase, is through the staking, and after the launch phase, still with the staking. But here, the staking starts with 20% APY, and every full 90 days, this 20% is reduced by 1%. So in early 2026, that this will be down to 2%. And then after this launch phase, after people can not do more mints as well, after the 3,000 days and after the few years until the staking APY is down to 2%, new Xen will only be given out to the market with the 2% APY of staking.
Exactly. So here you see the philosophy already is pretty similar at all. Like, you know, the launch phase of Hex obviously is so much different. It's only 1 year, where it is in Zen 8 years. But there is a similarity where in the launch phase, so much Hex was created. And now the number of Hex goes up really slowly because it is an inflationary coin. And in Zen, it is somewhat similar, right? To a point where a lot of Zen are created, and then maybe in 4, 5, 6 years, less and less and less Zen will be created. So it also reaches a number that then will go up slower and slower and slower. So deflationary inflation. I think you have a better term for that, right?
Reduced inflation.
Reduced
Like
inflation.
Bitcoin
That sounds so
has
much
now.
better. Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go on.
Because, like, for example, with Bitcoin, every 4 years, with the halving, the inflation of Bitcoin is cut in half.
Hey, and look at this. I want to definitely bring that up right away because we just talked about it. Earn free Bitcoin. 90% of Hexicans bought their Hex, did not get the free airdrop. Let's be real here. But you know, why did not every single Bitcoin guy get Hex for free? First of all, because the Bitcoin people were talking badly about Hex. People were scared about Hex. They thought it was a scam. And you know, the Bitcoin people really did the disservice to their fellow Bitcoin people. Richard Hart wanted to give Hex for free to the Bitcoin people, but they just not took it all. But at the end, if you look at the smart contract, there were over like 300,000 Bitcoin, I believe, that free claimed with their Bitcoin and got free Hex. So I think that was pretty amazing of Richard Hart to give out so much Hex to the Bitcoin people. But I think he's also a little bit right, where the most people that participated in Hex probably bought the Hex and that did not get it for free, because who holds Bitcoin nowadays anyways? I know that I did not get any free Hex because I did not have any Bitcoin.
Yeah, but back to the presentation, and what we are speaking about is just like the distribution of the coins, and part of the distribution was the Bitcoin free claim, even if not much people made use out of it. I mean, not much, 300,000 Bitcoin still.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than 350,000, something like this. But let's continue now. This was the distribution. Now let's talk about the supply here as well. It is similar from the slide that we have seen before. In Hex, how it works is that the hyperinflation was during the launch phase, right? And now after that, it is a maximum of 3.69% inflation per year. But we now already, or at least the people that have seen our presentation, the power of T-share in Hex, you are able to earn way more than those 369%. And this has to do with the distribution system of the T-shares, where we are like ballparking it here now. If you stake for 1 year in Hex, you get about 10% a return of investment. And if you stake like average staker, it is around 38%. And how is it in Zen, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about the supply. I don't know why you are switching between the two languages, because in German we are talked objectively between the coins, and now you are bringing always the individual perspective in each and every slide, and I don't know if I like it or not. So yeah, thanks that you are also educating the audience, like how much APY you can get roughly when you stake Hex, but let's stick with the supply and like with the general system and not with the individual perspective. We can go in the individual perspective, like in the end of the stream, when we can also look at the price charts and all that. And now for the supply and how supply is like inflated or extended over time is with the maximum 3.69 inflation per year in Hex, which only gets to the stakers. And as the stakers delay their gratification so much, the actual supply increase in the last 2 years was less than 2%. And on the other side, with Xen, the supply is, so with Hex, we have like this at supply, and then it's like a slightly increasing line. And when it comes to Xen, we have like so it's not that about, I don't know. I don't want to put a percentage number because those are inflationary currencies both. But in Hex, most of all ever minted Hex was created in the first year. And when it comes to Xen, most all ever minted or claimed Xen will be created over time. So for example, right now we are having a little less than 7,000 than 7 trillion Xen on the total supply, and the expectation in 1.5 years, 1.4 years would be over 60 trillion coins. So when it comes to Hex, after the first 355 days, Hex already had 620 something billion coins, and right now we have 640 billion coins. So you see there is like only a little bit more, but when it comes to Xen, it will be extended like much more, because in this first 120 days we had only a tiny bit of the expected total supply will be actively is already actively minted.
And then in Zen, we have other projects built on top that are also burning Zen. So I remember on Zen Turbo, for example, we saw that, it is expected after those 8 years that Zen will have a total supply of like 500 trillion coins. And now Jack Levin said, for example, he doubts that we will ever see this big of a number. And because of
I also don't think so.
Because of all the mechanisms that we are seeing right now. And
yeah, but not really because of the burning. Actually, not really because of the burning. More because it's getting less and less when what you can get, even if you make the maximum term mint. And on a certain point of time, it will just not be worth it, especially on the Ethereum chain, as the fees to perform the mint and perform the claim later on might not be more than what you pay for it, for to do the transactions. And then there will come a certain point of time where it might be better to, if you want to have Xen, to get it on the market than to go with minting and later on claiming it. So right now, as you can see on the price chart as well, minting and claiming later on, for example, for the maximum term, looks like the most lucrative thing to do.
Exactly. So let's go on. We have talked about the distribution, about the supply, and now we have to talk about the tokenomics. And here you see with those errors that two things are pretty much the same in Hex and also Zen. So in Hex, we have the T-shares that have a deflationary character. There is more and more financial energy needed to create T-shares, and for what reason we already know, because of the T-share rate only going up. And Hexline also mentioned before, it is a delayed inflation where the staker class staked out their Hex for so long that even the maximum inflation of 3.69% is actually less in the power of T-share presentation. From the last time we said it was about around 1.2%, I believe, of really net inflation that hit the that was paid out to the people in 2022. Have I mentioned that correctly? I think the numbers, I think you have them in your head a little bit better.
That's why I said less than 2%, because I don't remember if it was like 127, 143, something along those lines.
Really low number. And then we have something programmed in like the big payday bonus in Hex, which was only in the launch phase. But when you made a stake in the big in the launch phase, then you got the big payday bonus, which is then paid out to you when you end your stake. And at the end, the T-share rate that only goes up in order that nobody can actually how do you say it all the time? Nobody can cheat the system, because longer and bigger pays rather have to always be true. And then it's called a little bit different. Here we have the C rank, right?
Exactly. So when we look at Xen, we also have a little deflationary character as it's set it up with the mathematics of the smart contract, because the earlier you make your mint, the more bonuses you get. So for example, let's go with from down the last point to the top point. So at first we have this early adoption amplifier bonus in Xen, which says that for the first 10 million ranks, for the first 10 million mints, 10 million wallets, so to speak, you have an early adoption amplifier bonus, which starts at 10%, and every 100,000 ranks, it goes down by 0.1%. As of right now, we are at 8.9 million with the C rank. So the early adoption amplifier bonus is at 1.1% right now. And after we reach the 10 million, it will be at 0, so it will not exist anymore. Then the next one up there, the reward amplifier, this is actually the time frame for how long minting can actually be performed. And this is a timer which starts at 3,000 and goes down by 1 each and every day. So that's why we say launch phase 8 years. That's about those 3,000 years. And after this time, it will not be possible anymore to mint and later on claim your Xen. And as this number starts at 3,000 and goes down by 1 each and every day, means as well that you get less and less Xen if you are minting it later and later on. So that's why I also think that we don't reach the 500 trillion total supply in the next 8 years, because it will be less and less profitable to mint and later on claim your Xen. And you also have the delayed inflation factor, because you are choosing when you're minting your C rank when you want to claim it as well. And the more C ranks are getting minted after you did it, the more Xen you will be able to claim when you delay it. And you can delay it by just 1 day. You can delay it by 446 days as well if you want to. And that's the delayed inflation part. And the deflationary character, or like the disinflation, thanks Bluebum, would also be like another word for that, also plays a role here, as those bonuses are, one gets eliminated after 10 million, one gets like slowly down each and every day. And as it becomes like less profitable, less people will perform it. So over time, your distance between like you made your mint and then you made your claim, and how much people made their mint in between this time, will also go down.
And you see the tokenomics in both systems are set up in a way where it incentivizes the early people and incentivizes them also to have long-term thinking. It leaves meat on the table for later adoption. This is how Richard Hart puts it so great. And you guys, I have marked all your questions. We will answer them at the end. So don't think we will not address your questions. We will go through all of them. I have already favored a couple of them, and I'm really excited to answer them after this presentation. So, Case Beeline, is there anything else about tokenomics that you want to address here, or should we go on?
We go on.
So now we have the bonuses and the penalties. In Hex, we have bonuses. In Zen, we have bonuses, and we have in both system penalties. And it's really, really important to have these mechanisms, right? In Hex, we have the bigger pays better bonus. The first metric when you make a stake is you have to decide how much Hex you want to stake. And this then derives a bigger pays better bonus for you, and also a longer pays better bonus, which incentivizes you also to stake out longer, because as longer you stake, the more Hex you get as bonuses at the end of your stake. And you want to go into the Zen here right away?
Sure. You talked about the penalties or only about the bonuses right now?
Only about the bonuses right now.
Only about the bonuses. Okay, so the Xen bonuses, as explained before, so the 3,000 days, which goes down by 1, and the EAA, which is the 10% bonus, which goes down by 0.1 each and every 100,000 C ranks, and then the C rank distance between your mint and your claim as well. So those are the bonuses you have in Xen.
And these bonuses are, like we said before, incentivizing the earlier people, but still leaving meat on the table for the later one. And then now let's go into the penalties that are really crucial for both of the systems as well. And here in Hex, we have the early and late end stake penalties, because if we are staking, we are creating T-shares. And now when somebody else creates a T-share, I am getting less of the payout. So it's actually really important that we are penalizing those people that are not truthful. And we have something that is called the truth engine that penalizes you more for being more untruthful. For example, if you make a 10-year stake and after 2 weeks you want to end stake it, you will lose everything. Your principal will totally be diminished. And I think that's just fair. If you're not that big of a liar, if you stake for 1 year and after 180 days you come and you end the stake, then at least you get back your principal and you do not get any interest. So how does the penalty work in Zen? It's also very severe, right?
Yes, and so like the early penalty is only existing when it comes to staking. So you have the option to stake your Xen as explained for 20% APY, which goes down 1% every 90 full days. And if you and then when you are staking, you have the option to put a time frame to your stake as well, between 1 day and 1,000 days, which is a little less than 3 years. And if you decide to end your stake early, you are getting penalized all your accrued interest, but you are getting back your principal. And that's only the early part is only for the staking mechanism of Xen. And the late penalties, that part is only for the minting and claiming part of Xen. So at first you mint your C rank, and when you mint it, you say when you come back in order to claim your Xen coins. And if you are not coming back on the day, you only have a couple of days, and then you will get punished up to 99%. So there is like a list in the tabelle, a graph in the chat, where you can see that in only in the first 24 hours you can claim your Xen without any penalties, and then the next day you already have like 1% of penalty, the next day already 8, and then that's like how it goes on. It every day it gets like harder, and if you come back 7 days later or even later, then you will only get 1% of your claimable Xen, and the rest, will be penalties.
And this really cleans up the system, right? That makes sure that their people are sticking to their terms. And we have that in both in Hex and also in Zen. I think it makes a lot of sense. So now the last
Yeah, in
part.
Xen, in Xen, it puts another layer of game theory because you are always incentivized to get your mints and claims in when the Ethereum fees are, or the fees in general of a blockchain, are as cheap as possible. And that's a nice game mechanism. So, for example, if there was like a time with low fees where people did lots and lots of mints, and let's assume they put like all the same end date, like the maximum, and then when this date is reached, let's say we have a week of really high fees, then some of those people might not come back in order to make their claim because it might not be worth it, for example. And I guess that the penalties will increase more and more as time goes on in the Xen system, because as time goes on, we might get more and more participants on the East chain as well, and that doesn't help the East fees.
It doesn't help the ETH fees, and it's really interesting how this big experiment plays out, right? So let's go on with the last slide that we have prepared for you guys. It's talking about the ethos of Hex and Zen. And on the one side, we have Richard Hart, who is the creator of Hex and also is now coming out with his own blockchain, Pulse Chain. And here we see it, you see it already. Richard Hart talks a lot about having no expectations. He is building quietly with his developers. Sometimes he gives us updates on Pulsechain, how it's going, but a lot of things we do not know yet, right? And Zen, on the other hand, Jack Levin does it totally different. KSB Lion, how would you describe it?
Yeah, so on the other side we have Jack Levin. Jack Levin, also a really interesting player, really really vocal. Is like on dozens of different streams in the now in the early days of his Xen. He launched on 10 different blockchains, so he's definitely also a builder, like Richard Hart also is as well. He also created Hex. He also builds Pulse Chain, and Jack Levin wants to go with a different approach, but also wants to do a new layer one blockchain called X1, and he's going like with expectations and more expectations. He's like, I will get the venture capitalists. I will, yeah. Go and have expectations. I will make sure that there is no sacrifice phase, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting, like how those two people approach a new layer one chain. Like with Pulse chain, no expectations, the biggest decentralization possible, no admin keys when it's not like 100% needed, and a full system state, a full copy of all the coins which are on Ethereum. So, and with the initial sacrifice phase, so it's like a completely different approach as compared to X1, where Jack Levin says no sacrifice phase. I will bring in venture capitalists. We will have different smart contracts where you can burn Xen in order to get a part, in order to get coins of the X1 chain, and that you should have expectations because he does not have any problems with like security law or general American law, because he is not going for a sacrifice phase. He's not going for a pre-mine or something like that. So he himself would also need to put in his venture capitalist money if he wants to, or also play with his own money in the smart contracts who will determine who gets like how much of X1.
And Richard Hart, like he's a little bit vulgar, right? He has a lot of women, for example, Jack Levin, the family man. It's two different approaches. And you guys, if you have watched my content, especially because the KSB line has a little bit different view on that, I'm saying all crypto is really just a narrative. People buy it, they hold on to it, and then they hope that the price goes up in the future. And Richard Hart already proved that he created a coin that went up 10,000x. And now with Jack Levin, also a really interesting character that we can learn a lot from, that has the first principles in this crypto. And then even if the price chart goes down 10,000x, there are people loving the project. So we obviously want to educate you on both of those coins, and just want to point out what are the similarities, what are the differences, because at the end we have two founders, two retired geniuses who want to make the world a better place, and this is what we believe in strongly. KSB line, is there anything you want to say to finish up this presentation? Other than that, I would go and address all the questions that we have. We have a couple of really good questions here that I think we should definitely talk about.
Yes, let's go into the questions. Let's
All
go
right,
over them.
so let's remove our screen share here, and I have 11 questions prepared. We start from the top, and Willy Blanc 33 is saying, stop fighting in our hex bags with this Zen crap. And I do not understand this kind of behavior at all. You know, if you do not like the content, just don't watch it. But saying that we are flooding our hex bags is just stupid, in my opinion. It is a cryptocurrency that you can use to gain financial freedom. At the end, it's all a narrative, it's a big experiment, and all we are seeking for is financial freedom. And I don't think that we are fudding here at all. But I think it has to be said, because there are really loud Hexicans in Twitter, for example, in the chats, that are saying and crying a lot that Hexicans and Zenians cannot be one. And I think we had Blue Bump here saying it so well. If you like both, then you are Hexen, a Hexen, yeah. Next question here from Trevor. You guys do the Zen DevNet yet? Case Beeline, did you dabble around in that yet?
A little bit, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there is not much to talk about. You know, it's yeah, it's like for testing purposes. You know, I also don't know what I should tell you guys about Pulse Chain Testnet. You know, which is existing since months. So yeah, it gets tested there. You know, and it looks like the transaction speed is quite fast on the DevNet of X1. So, but other than that, I don't know like what I should talk about that. Talk
What
about that
what I
exactly.
remember about the DevNet is that Jack Levin, they really maxed the system out. It is a 1 second blockchain, right? And they were able to really bring it to the max capacity, and it was still able to survive this. So from there on, they said they're really comfortable with going forward for X1. I think that was pretty interesting. And here we have Zenologist. The true buying Zen might be better in the near future. And this question came up when you were talking about the distribution being less and less in the future. So Case B line, this raises the question, do you think the bottom for Zen might be in, and in the near future it could already be more profitable to buy it compared to minting it?
I mean, I've all speculation, of course, but and it's hard to say, you know, because with all the other coins I have it to compare it with, all those other coins had like a really harsh hyperinflation in the beginning, and when it comes to Xen, it's like it's a harsh hyperinflation, but it still goes on, you know. So it's a little hard to say. And as of right now, we have like 7 trillion. In 1.5 years, there is expected to be about 60 trillion. When you look at the Hedron total supply, that's 115 trillion. If you look at their all-time low, it's 6 zeros and a 2. I don't know. That's like the one side, and on the other side, you could argue, no, it's like pretty near the low in Xen because Phoenix is coming, DB Xen is coming, X1 is coming. The reflection token is coming. So there is a lot of stuff to come when in Xen. Then there is also like still the rare NFTs going on. So I also speculate that there are some people like looking on those things, to get them before they are sold out. And in order to do so, some of them might still need to buy some Xen on the market, because you need to burn Xen in order to do that. But it's hard to say. But I still speculate that we see 6 zeros, and somewhere in the 6 zeros, I also speculate that we will see the all-time low.
And I think Jack Levin is also saying that Zen was created to be claimed and minted. Right now, I don't think it is the time to buy. Who knows if there's ever been the time to buy it? But guess, Beeline, you mentioned already, in order to participate in some of those systems, you're maybe even wanting to buy because then you just have it. You don't have to wait and you get the
Yeah, I
amount
mean
that you were looking for.
the interesting thing there is would be the APY. So if you're staking your Xen right now, like up to 1,000 years, you would get 19% APY for that. And I mean, you like for like 2 months more, you have those 19, and then for another 3 months, you have 18%, which is not much of a difference. But yeah, so within this time frame, it might be interesting to already have some Xen that you can stake them actively, that you get this APY on top of that.
So Trevor Hansen is asking, do they cover the X1 token yet? They get their Zen NFT airdrop. So we can say that we are already talking to Jack Levin, and he is on vacation right now. And when he gets back from vacation, he would like to do a stream with us. And I'm really excited because then we will talk about Zen 1 X1 with him, especially. And then we want to know everything about that because there are some news that just came out that we have a couple of questions on. And then obviously we'll do a stream and share that with you guys here. Next follow-up question by Trevor. It's interesting. ETH nerd stuff is not for everyone, and then that's probably what the Hexicans are criticizing when it comes to Hex. It can get really, really deep with Zen. Zen was meant to be an educational token, and it had educated me on a couple of things. For example, that the price chart is great to have, but not really needed if you understand the tokenomics of a coin. And then also it really made me look into the gas, right? And how gas works and how to make sure that I get the best transaction cost available out there. What are the things that you like on Zen, for example?
I like a lot about Xen, and I like a lot about Hex as well. So when it comes to Xen, it's also a system which teaches the people of how to move in your own crypto wallet, how to get your keys into your own hands, how to store your crypto value only within yourself, and how to properly use the Ethereum chain and how to properly use smart contracts. And this kind of education is, in my point of view, definitely needed on the crypto market. And I hope that in the future, the people won't go like to all those centralized players, all those middlemen, in order to pick up pennies in front of freight trains.
Because this is what just happened lately, right, with Celsius and FTX, and really Zen tries to educate the people. I must say, that's one of the things that I really, really like about the ethos of Zen as well. So Jerry is saying, which is better, Sheer or Zen? Jerry, we just got look into Zen. We just started understanding this system, and now Sheer, one of the Hexicans came out with that coin. I think it was Orca, right? So that's definitely something we have to look into in the future as well. But there are just so many things out there, we cannot know them all. Or do you want to give a statement to that?
No, I haven't done any research on that.
KSB TV here. Become a member to access member-only content. Our Yeah, well, thanks for putting that out here, Mars, because it reminds me of the content that we have on KSB TV already. On the Hex birthday in San Diego, we had an amazing interview with the only one, and he was talking about his 4 near-death experiences, and we were recording that. It is an amazing testimonial about Hex, and it is out already, the intro on KSB TV, and the full story, the 12-minute version and the 24-minute version is right now available to all our members. And I think it is really cheap to become a member on KSB TV, and then you can access it already. In the future, we will obviously make it available to all the Hexicans, because I think it's a phenomenal testimonial to Hex, and it really needs to be said and brought out there. And look at this, we have Sami in the chat as well. He says, bullish on KSB TV, amazing content. Sami, thank you so much for being here. I'm a big fan of your content on Twitter. I basically like every single thing, because I think you're doing an amazing job for the Hexicans and for the crypto space in general. So thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. Jerry Oaksmith is saying, is Zen on Matic or Ethereum better?
So here you have to understand one crucial thing. So it is not the same XEN price on the different blockchains. So XEN on Ethereum has a price, then XEN on Matic has a price, XEN on Avalanche has a price, XEN on ETHW has a price, and so on and so forth. And those are not the same XEN. Those are like individual XEN from the individual blockchains. So what is not possible, for example, is that you mint XEN really cheap on the Matic, on the Polygon network, and then you bridge it to the East chain, and then you sell it for the price of XEN on the East chain. That's not how it works. I guess that people might think that, but that's not how it works. So I haven't done too much research on XEN on other blockchains than on the Ethereum chain, but if it's worth it, if the fees are low, then you can make your mint and the maximum claim, or you might even want to make a not so long mint, and then you claim that, I don't know, in 60, 80, something like that days, and then you stake that additionally as well. But no, sorry, I guess staking is only to the Ethereum chain now. As I said, like when it comes to the other blockchain and Xen, I haven't done much research on them. But don't just like that, nobody misunderstands it. Xen on a different blockchain is also kind of a different Xen. So with a different price, which you cannot bring like to the Ethereum blockchain, and then those units you can exchange for the same price than on the East chain. That's not how it works.
How I understood, Jack, is that at one point they want to bring them all together, but the reason why we are talking about Zen on the Ethereum chain is because so many more people are on Ethereum compared to all the other blockchains, and that's where all the eyes are, really, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that. So if you read like the latest statistics, there are also a ton of users on the Binance Smart Chain, a ton of users on the Tron blockchain, and so on. So that's actually not completely true.
Not
There
completely
are a lot
true.
of people on the Ethereum blockchain, but it's not the most. No. And if you go like with C ranks, then if you bring up Xen.network and look on the 10 blockchains Xen is at, then you will see that the C rank is the lowest on the Ethereum chain. And that is because on the other chain, the fees are much more cheaper. So like kind of the same amount of individuals just made way more mints on other blockchains.
So Toby one made a funny comment here. Richard Hart, no expectation results in mad gains. Jack Levin, expectation result in wrecked. Well, we will see if this is gonna be true in the future. We all have our ideas on what is a good and what is a bad cryptocurrency. But once you talk to the Zenians, they are excited about all the things that are going on. They're excited about Zen, about all the other projects that they are about to come. And at the end, the crypto is all a narrative. Which narrative do you want to follow? The Richard Hart narrative or the Jack Levin narrative? It's all a big experiment. And at the end, all we want is financial freedom. So let's see how this is going to play out in the future. Patrick, here we have Trevor Hansen, and this is a question that I had asked in the past as well. Now, ZenFT comments in relation to X1 airdrop would be great. So if you buy an NFT, will you get an airdrop on X1? And I believe the answer is no. If you mint Zen, on the other hand, then I'm pretty sure you will get an airdrop on X1.
Yeah, so buying NFT is not recommended for the airdrop, but minting the NFT is. And yeah, I don't have like the details there because that would be a question for Jack himself when we are talking about the how the X1 supply will be given out. And he already said that there will be an airdrop. I don't know if we should call it an airdrop, because I guess you as the NFT minter still need to go somewhere in order to claim them. So yeah, okay, it's an airdrop claim, you can say. And then it depends what kind of NFT you have, how much of the X1 coins you will get. If you are, for example, holding the most expensive NFT, which is a Xunicorn, where you need to burn 10 billion XEN in order to mint it, you will get the biggest airdrop, for example.
Patrick, and then in the tokenomics of our presentation, we're talking about this. If you need to snipe ETH gas fees prices for cheap wallet creation, then that's what you gotta do. And maybe you can explain what is the reason behind it that then is set up in a way, and why is it so good that it is like this? It
I
really
don't know
tests.
what you
It
mean.
really tests all the blockchains, right? And if there is a low fee, then everybody will mint, and if there is a high fee, then nobody will mint. And then at the end, it will even that pretty good out, I believe. It is a stress test for every blockchain out there, I believe. Do you agree?
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, the blockchain should know what they are capable of. I don't know if there is like XEN needed in order to test them.
But it definitely shows us that as more transactions there are made, as more people participate, as higher the fees goes. And this is a problem for, not really a problem, but this goes for every single blockchain. This will also go for Polchain, for example. I'm really excited to see that playing out when Zen is then also on Polchain and a lot of people minting their wallets over there.
Yeah, but
Zen was
like for example, when Xen launched on the Binance Smart Chain, it was like overcooking a little bit, no? And then there is like one chain. It's, I guess, this Doge chain they made, and I just got the comment in the background that on Binance Smart Chain and on the Doge chain, the change needed to had to hold for it a little bit of time in order to take care of the traffic.
So I think this is really then the stress test that I was talking about here. Let's go into the next question here. Zen was not designed to be a store of value. Zen was designed to be a currency. Jack is working on a store of value that will rival Bitcoin, but will have far superior features like store of value. And I think we mentioned that in our presentation as well. Hex, the better store of value, and Zen maybe the better transaction token. I think that's how you can see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I see it like that as well. And but still, there is a store of value part in Xen of well as well. But as the comment says, perfectly correct. Uh, Jack Levin is about to launch like uh, another thing on top of Xen, like another smart contract where you then can use like to put more usability to Xen. That's like the main focus of Jack Levin right now. With the building of the X1, building of the other smart contracts, and there are like other community members who are also building smart contracts on top of Xen. And all those smart contracts have one goal, and the goal is to give utility to Xen, like in order that you can use it like a currency, because then you can use it in order to get this stuff, or can use it in order to get that stuff, and yeah, that's the idea behind it.
So the next question from Bluebum, do the price graphs look roughly the same on each chain for Zen? I've not looked into it at all.
Me neither.
And here Trevor is saying
But I mean,
chain.
what I know, it's like the price of Xen on the East chain is the highest.
Makes sense,
Because
because
on the
that's
other
where
chain,
the highest fees occur as well. From Trevor, chain banned badge minting curse of Zen, read on the X1 page. And I think this just shows that if you have Zen on your blockchain and it is working just fine, then you probably have a good blockchain. If you have to stop the blockchain because there's one project doing stuff like this, then the blockchain is maybe not even worth being on it, in my opinion. Next question here from Icon. What's your thoughts on 50% of the Zen supply being owned by centralized exchanges?
I honestly like that in that case, because why do I like that in that case? It's because it's so far off when it comes to Hex. So Hex is not on any centralized exchange, and this is good for Hex. The main trading for Hex is on Uniswap. That's perfect for Hex. But when it comes to Xen, I don't mind it being like on as much centralized exchanges as possible, because then Xen could be the next Shiba in the next run. Because then maybe exchanges are picking it up. Maybe those exchanges are making like good amount of fees and money with the coin. Maybe those exchanges then have like more reason in order to push the price up. Maybe those exchanges also have their own stake in Xen, and get a 20, 19, 18% APY on that. So yeah, I like it when Xen is on more centralized exchanges. And in order to stake your Xen, you need to put it on your own wallet and that's why I don't see like a big threat coming from centralized exchanges. And I also don't think that something like Gate.io, I guess that's where the user is referring to, is has the intention to do anything bad there. I guess they just want to earn more fees. They just want to earn more money. And if they can earn more money by promoting Xen, for example, then they will do so. And that happened, for example, with Shiba and Crypto.com. They made a ton of promotion for that coin, and it is also inflationary, has like not really the best tokenomics, it's just a meme coin and so on. So yeah, I don't mind seeing Xen on more centralized exchanges. I would like to see it on, I mean, it is on Binance, right? Yeah, it should be on Binance.
I've no idea,
but also like on other
what Jack
big centralized
Levin
exchanges.
said about centralized exchanges is that it is free advertisement, right? And if you're in Hex, if you're in Zen, in both projects, then you really now have the philosophies, the ethos of both those founders. And now we can talk about diversifying your portfolio. I think this is now really diversifying, because if you only diversify in Hex and Maxi and Hedron, well, how diversified is that really? But now if you go into another idea, which Zen definitely is, with being even favored by some centralized exchanges, which is great marketing for the coin, well, now you really diversify. So I think it is smart to hold both, because it's just a different narrative. So it's great to have them, in centralized exchanges as well, since Hex is not on any centralized from what I know, at least no big ones.
No big ones, yes.
Do we want to saying, Pat looks great. Has he been going to the gym with Abed? He's not going to the gym with me. I know he's growing his hair though.
Yeah, I'm I'm more growing my hair than my muscles. No, but thanks to everyone. Thanks.
So hopefully Zen adopts people to DeFi. That would be great. And I think this is the ethos of Zen as well, to bring out the education, educate the people on DeFi, and then at the end bring adoption. This is what we want to see. And guys, how I think is that the Hex people, they always say it's a vampire attack on Hex. I don't believe that at all. I think smart contracts will be developed, and we cannot say that every smart contract there is now a vampire attack on Hex. I even think it's going to be the other way around. Whenever Jack does a stream, there are going to be Hexicans. Whenever there is a Twitter space, there will be Hexicans in the Zen's Twitter space as well. And I'm telling you about the Zen people. They love me especially. Whenever I'm in the Twitter space, they will bring me up. They will ask me questions and so on. And then obviously I'm going to talk about Richard Hart being the best person in crypto. So I think it's going either way, both ways. That's what I wanted to say here.
Yeah, I also think that like cooperation brings us further than separation, because as you see at the first principles, that's why we put it in the presentation, to show you guys like that there are so much similarities when it comes to Xen and Hex, but then also so much differences then that you can also speculate, for example, that Xen and Hex might go like on different beats, which is also good for your portfolio, because if one outperforms exceptionally and the other one is lagging behind, and then outperforms, so good opportunities there. It's not bad if you have a crypto portfolio where within your crypto portfolio not everything is going up and down the same time.
So right now I'm looking to the last couple of questions here from Trevor. If you really have something, then put it into the chat right now, and then we may pick it up. But Trevor is saying the only bad thing with Zen is constant sell pressure for now. Oof. Well, this is the same thing that the people were talking about in Hex as well, right? When Hex was inflating, or even nowadays, the haters are saying that the early investors have so much Hex they can always sell the price down, but then Hex did 10,000x. So it's all cryptocurrency, and when you have more adoption than the people selling, then even Zen can do 10,000x in the future, I believe.
Bring up the next comment as well, please. It's like when Boston had no, the next one, the when Boston Hex meet up with Kareem. We already had that, you know that. So not last year, 2021, in the end of November, we met up with Kareem. We had a workshop in Boston, me together with him, and then Kareem joined the tour and was like pretty much more or less with us until we reached the end of the tour in Las Vegas in March 2021.
A really interesting guy, and I loved that we had
March
contact
last year, sorry.
with so many Hexicans. We had Nado on the tour, we had Kareem on the tour, Motley Investor was with us, Maddie All In was with us, Cabana, I think almost everybody. Johnny, basically we toured all of America and we said hello to all the Hexicans out there. I'm so proud of what we did there. Yeah, and for now, I don't see any more interesting questions. So, Patrick, if there is nothing else that you would like to address, then I would now say to our viewers, thank you guys for participating in our stream. Thanks for bringing out the question, bringing out the word for Hex and for Zen and what we are doing here. If you liked what we are doing, please hit the like and subscribe. This will really motivate us to do more streams like this in the future. And now the last words go to KSB Line.
Yeah, thanks for everybody to watch. I hope you liked our presentation here. It shouldn't be about the question, what is better and what is well, what's worse, it's like, okay, where are the similarities? Where are the differences? What are the benefits? What are advantages? What are disadvantages? And that's what we wanted to uh, show you today. And we also wanted to invite you that we shouldn't like fight one crypto versus the other crypto. And it's also like really hard to compare it. You always need to uh, make your deep dive in every cryptocurrency individually. Like look up their tokenomics, look up their community, look up their distribution model, their supply model, and so on, and then you can make a better decision. I hope you can make a better decision right now. Yeah, we still love Hex. We also like Xen, and that's it. Have a fun time, everybody, and all the best, guys. Bye bye.